planet Tiamat. Heinous here. Because I'm gonna let you know, you're in the water, you're gonna die. Illuminati dies here today, Mom.
It's a shark in the zoo. They say in Babylon, put the mark on them too. His whole body light so we can maul other guys. If my all-seeing eye going dark on me too. And them coffers for you. I'm ready, so the devil who I call out first. I heard God call, he said behind the great wall. He I made a sword off to kick them all off earth. So my click don't play. Heaven gotta choose the wolf or the lamb. Getting shot down by a pig in the street. Why do niggas gotta beef when it's a whole lot of hell? Alright, it's a hole in the dam. They can't flood Merc, so they shoot down gangs. Merc fly high, baby, Merc won't die. I don't see nobody here that can shoot down planes. It's like I shoot down veins. You're turning everybody in the hood to an addict. You live 6th grade to a bully with a habit. Cause I'm a switchblade or a fully automatic. Let's go. It's only 2 ways out. Don't ever try to sit and think I'm running, cause you can't. It's only screaming die while you running out of tank. Oh, screaming try bitch while you running out the bank. Cause my click don't pay. I'm probably in your range getting brain with the semi. My hoe act right like she came with an Emmy. She want black pipe cause she came with the Remy. Ain't no pain even in me. You probably wouldn't know where I blow back cause it's 5 knockouts when it's 5 cops out. Or it's 5 shots out from the big bad wolf. Better bitch gon' say that my click don't play. I do a clip in the cave, but I'm probably in your range getting brain with this. Better bitch gon' say that my click don't play. I do a clip in the cave, but I'm probably in your range getting brain with the semi. Better bitch gon' say this is the only way I know to handle this. A whole lot of guns and a whole lot of cannons.
Shots fired at ScrewTube, but shots out to you carbon babies. This is your melanated warrior, Heru Heinous, and this is another installment of Facts Over Feelings. Leave your feelings at the door so we can get to the facts, because the facts are the only things that matter in a race where the first one to the mind is the winner. What's up, Crystalogians? Let me go ahead and look at this chat right quick, see what we got going on. Oh, this is finna be explosive. This is about to be explosive right here. All right, we got Amwaba in the chat. We got King Malik in the chat. Kai's in the building. Ross is in the building. Oh, yeah, this is about to be dope. I mean, you know, this is Black History Month, you know, people. So let's go ahead and get into it because we got some powerful information to present. So right before we get started, let me get ones in the chat to make sure that you guys can hear me. You know, if you guys can hear me, all right, let's get ones in the chat so we can get started. Let me see. So we got Riz in the building. Oh, Riz gonna love this one. You're gonna love this one, Riz. You're gonna love this one. All right. So let's get started. All right. And you know, recapping just a little bit. This is our thing. You know, much of what we say on this platform, and we've said this, and it's not, I don't mean to belabor this point, but it must be said because this is just how strong the spell work is. And this is obviously, this is why it's important for me to continue to keep reiterating this. The stranglehold on our people's mentality, right? Because they had given us the information. And so it's like, how do we get past this? When we got our people from our community telling us these things, we get relegated to pseudoscientists, or, you know, we're just crazy, tinfoil hat and all of that different stuff. But when they say it, people have no issue with it. And we know that the reason why they have that ability is because the God complex that's afforded to them, right? And so before we dive deep into this, I want to ask you guys a question, because some of you are familiar with this concept. You've heard it. The newer generation may not be familiar with this, but when you heard the idea of the revolution will not be televised, what's the first thing that pops in your head? Because we hear that statement thrown around all the time. And I think a lot, and I think that is great to talk about this concept because we're in Black History Month. So what do you guys feel, or what do you feel about the idea or the concept that our people came up with the revolution won't be televised? What does it mean to you? I'm finna look in this chat right quick. So the revolution won't be televised. What is it? What do they mean when they say that? What do they mean when they say that? Okay, I'm waiting. I know it's a delay. So I'm gonna wait. Man, I hate this delay. It is what it is, though. Let me see. Let me refresh it. Oh, shit. Amici on point. He said Greg going down, maybe. Exactly. But see, this is why I fuck with the FOS squad, because y'all already know I'm not saying nothing new. I'm not saying nothing slick to a can of oil. Messing with the FOS squad, yes, it's like some people point to the revolution not being televised because of a blackout, and also because the revolution is the inner work. It can't be televised because it is the inner work. And going into that, we was talking about how a lot of these, we were going over the reasons too, as well as why this is a hard thing for a lot of our people to do, simply because the burden of relaying information is always going to be hard because of the public's fascination with killing the messenger. Again, the burden of relaying information is always hard because of the public's fascination with killing the messenger. I'm just here to give you the message. You see what I'm saying? So let's go deep into this stuff. Let's go deep into Black History Month, because I cannot give you information without giving you the esoteric side to it too as well. But in that recap, what do we understand from these videos on crystal work and all of this different stuff? We understand that this science called X-ray crystallography is the way that they were able to peer into the universe, the way they're able to deconstruct it, go in, learn about Mother Nature, reverse engineer her technology, then present it to the rest of the world like it was something new. Hence, he created the God complex that holds true to this day and rules with an iron fist over the imagination of the eumelanated species who we call the crystallogians. But they had to get people to help them to do this work. We also told you some of the chief co-conspirators, right, who played more of a sophisticated role than we could ever imagine, that being the Blanco woman. And she creeps up in all of our segments, and you're going to see her waning her ugly head too once again. And I'm talking about in terms of her energy. We're not saying physically, right? So don't get butthurt if you're a Blanco watching this channel. We're just telling you about the nature, right? So we're about to get into it. But this is the thing. Like I said, as we going on to that, this is kind of like what I wanted to talk about too, as we're still on this idea of us relaying information into being pseudo. If you look at the Bible, and let's go to Exodus 3 right quick. I'm finna share my screen right quick, and we're gonna start. We're not a religious channel, but we're just showing you this is really the main resource that you can use from people that's been brainwashed so long. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna share my screen right quick. And hold on, let me prep this article. Let me get it ready. Cause we're gonna start this off right. We're gonna start off on some deep shit, okay? We're gonna hold on. I almost got it, you guys. At least I got all the damn articles, this time. Because this is about to get that. I always say this is gonna be the deepest one, but you know how it goes. All right, here we go. I'm gonna share my screen. Okay, one's in the chat if you can hear me. All right, this is from Bible Gateway, but this is like the New Testament. All right, but give me ones in the chat if you can hear me. I'm sharing my screen right now. I know it's a delay. All right. So yeah. So you guys can hear me. So let's get on with it. Now we rocking and rolling. All right. It says this is just chapter 3 of Exodus. And we're going to go off the significance of the mountains. Obviously, is coming back to rear its symbolism or rear its ugly head through symbolism and stuff. And so we got to tackle this because this is important. We understand through symbolism of mountains. We talked about, Muhammad going on Mount Jabal and in the cave Hira. He received this information from Jibril or Gabriel, and this would allowed him to write the Quran. OK, he comes in the mountain, and then we know Mount Horeb. All right, we're going to discuss this with Moses. He goes up the mountain. ground. We know even if you go back to Greek myths, you know about Zeus, Mount Olympus, all of these mountains. Okay, we know about our ancestors, the Olmecs, going up these mountains. Okay, we know that their Olmec heads, these heads were made out of basalt, or volcanic rock. All right, so we saying that people come from different mountains. Their gods are from, you know, different crystal makeups or different mountains, if you will. This creative force inside and, you know, and underneath Earth's, you know, with Earth's energy. And so so my point being is that, as I discussed to you, when we talk about these things, and I'm saying like, oh, okay, we got to be careful because the God that they got to serve might be of a different crystal makeup. This is a God that is harvesting us, right? We see this in this so-called matrix that we in, right? You know, so we got to look at it like, okay, well, is this a different God to make up? Okay, let's look into this and see if it is. All right. In Exodus 3, we're going to read a little bit of this, and it's going to set just some of, you know, we got to, you know, we're setting the framework up. All right. It says, now Moses was tending the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian, and he led the flock to the far side of the wilderness and came to Horeb, the mountain of God. There the angel of the Lord appeared to him in flames of fire from within a bush. Moses saw that though the bush was on fire, it did not burn up. So Moses thought, I will go over and see this strange sight, why the bush does not burn up. When the Lord saw that he had gone over to look, God called to him from within the bush, Moses, Moses. And Moses said, here I am. Let's go down a little bit. Let me scroll down. Do not come any closer, God said. Take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is holy ground. Then he said, I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. At this, Moses hid his face because he was afraid to look at God. The Lord said, I have indeed seen the misery of my people in Egypt. I have heard them crying out because of their slave drivers, and I am concerned about their suffering. So I have come down to rescue them from the hand of the Egyptians and to bring them up out of that land into a good and spacious land, a land flowing with milk and honey, the home of the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. And now the cry of the Israelites has reached me, and I have seen the way the Egyptians are oppressing them. So now go, I am sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the Israelites, out of Egypt. And it says, but Moses said to God, who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt? So we're going to read. Oh, shoot. Hold on. It said this page is not responding. Hold on. What the fuck? Yeah, let's get into it. What the fuck is they trying to do? All right, but we're going to go down just a little bit more, right, to the most important part. Hold on. Damn, why is it not responding? This shit is crazy. What going on with this page? Okay. And it said, verse 12 is really important. It said, and God said, I will be with you, and this will be the sign to you that it is I who have sent you. When you have brought the people out of Egypt, you will worship God on this mountain. When you have brought the people out of Egypt, you will worship God on this mountain. Even need you no more for a second. So we start to see the significance. We see the significance of these mountains. All right. And that's why, like I said, a lot of times we got to recognize that when we talk about these things, these are, you know, like we know how it is because of the, you know, how they've crafted our image to the rest of the world, that, you know, they discredit us. They discredited our intelligence. That was the first thing that they did. But they did this centuries ago when they met us. Remember, subhuman species, all of this works against your ability to be seen in a light in which you could say anything that's authoritative has an authoritative nature to it. Like whatever comes out of your mouth will be established as truth. Now, remind you, think about this God, for instance, that we're talking about. We're talking about a God that had a chosen people that made it a point to say, I am the God of this person and that person. You gave the lineage, right? You got a God who got a favorite people. He got a favorite tree. All right, the tree of life. He got a favorite land, a favorite sea. He got everything. He got a favorite. Now, all of a sudden, this God is all inclusive when these Europeans take over the world. But when they was running around the earth, this God was only for them. This God was only for them. But then when they took over the earth, this God is all inclusive. Yeah, God loves everybody. Now, remember, we're talking about the character. Remember, because we talk about this is the anthropomorphizing or making, you know, nature or natural forces into men and women. Okay, these characters. We gotta understand there's an you know, at the you know, the molecular level or the esoteric level. You know, this is something that doesn't even apply. All right, we got to look at the principal energies and all of this, right? And so we're going to take a look at, the many accomplices. Now, so what's our point? Our point is that when we take a look at what's being presented and that they had to push this, they had people in service to them in order to accomplish this. And one person we're going to look at is the Martin Luther King. Well, we know he changed his name, right? His name was not Martin Luther King. All right. This man's real name, I forget, it was Martin. What was his real name? I wrote this down, but we know that he was named. He took the name of a Protestant preacher, Martin Luther. Okay. And that's something that we always got to be careful of. Right. But right here, we're going to go. A lot of people don't know that Martin Luther King was insanely in love with a white woman. Right. And he wanted this woman to be, and this is very important. That's why I built to this, because not only does this, we talk about credibility, but we talk about how the Blanco woman was behind a lot of this esoteric stuff. So this is going to reverberate. This is going to be real powerful stuff. All right. So let's go to an article right quick, and we're going to show you it, because this is very important stuff. Very, very important stuff. All right. Because these are the leaders and stuff that they continue to keep pumping in our face time in and time out. So we got to examine these. Remember, the truth is going to piss everybody off. And this is Black History Month. So like I said, what better than to, go ahead and talk about these things and also the esoteric side behind them. But let me share my screen right quick. Politico magazine, titled, "We Were Madly, Madly in Love, The Untold Story of MLK's White Girlfriend." All right, Patrick Parr has written for The Atlantic and History Today, among others. In 2014, he was awarded an Artist Trust Fellowship. Okay, so it took me a long time to find Betty Mowatz. Betty Mowatz was her name. I had first learned her full name while reading Bearing the Cross, the 1986 biography about Martin Luther King Jr., written by David Garrow. In the book, Garrow briefly describes a serious relationship between King and a young white woman around the same age named Betty. They had met at Crozer. Now remember this, we're going to go into Crozer Theological Seminary in Chester, Pennsylvania, at the time, where King was a divinity student from the age of 19 until 22. When he graduated in May 1951, in Bearing the Cross, Garrow quoted a close friend. Now, sidebar, isn't it interesting that with this religion too as well, it shows how a lot of it began as an excuse for the black man too to, be with the white woman. A lot of these, if you notice that a lot of these soft ass Negroes had this Christian mentality. That's just my opinion. let me throw my, let's probably disregard that. That'll probably be when a lawyer who's saying I'll disregard that, you're just throwing it in there. But anyways, let's go. All right, King so it says Garrow quoted a close friend and mentor of King's at the time, Reverend Pius J. Barber, who said the relationship had left King as a man, quote, as a man with a broken heart. He never recovered. All right. In a way, I never recovered from that quote. As I wrote my own book about King, I wasn't satisfied with such a short description of such an apparently devastating relationship. Garrow was the first biographer to discover Betty's last name, and fortunately for me, buried it in a heavyweight endnote of the back of the book. The endnote took me on 2 cross-country flights, spurred dozens of calls to wrong numbers, and knocks on countless doors of people I thought might have known Betty. They didn't, but I left my business card anyway, and eventually, one of those people found someone who might know Betty, and that person sent me an address to which I sent a letter. It worked. Continue on. From the start, Mowatz and King's relationship was anything but carefree. Almost all King's friends, including Barber, tried to discourage him from staying with Betty, knowing what an interracial relationship would mean for his future. I quote, "I thought it was a dangerous situation that could get out of hand. And if it did get out of hand, it would smear King." His Crozer classmate Cyril Powell recalled in a 1986 interview, quote, "It would make his future hard for him." All right. But Betty recalls that time and the young King with fondness anyway. In one year-long correspondence and one long meeting in January 2016, Betty, who recently passed away at the age of 89, told me the story of their relationship and just how close King came to walking away from his future plans for her. We were madly, madly in love, the way young people can fall in love, she told me during our conversation at home. She started at the beginning. From a young age, Betty Mowatz had a family connection to Crozer, and this is deep, remember this name, where ML, as King was known at the time, was pursuing his studies before returning to his native Atlanta to follow in his father's footsteps as a preacher at Ebenezer Baptist Church, Remember, you ain't even got to, we're going to go into the Baptist church too. Mowatt's grandmother, Elizabeth, became the school's dietitian in 1933. When she retired, Betty's mother, Hannah Mowat, took over the position, and she kept it throughout ML's years there. The family lived in a 5-bedroom, 3-bathroom home, on the Crozer campus, and Betty graduated with honors from Edenstone High School, located only 2 miles away. Betty spent many days in her youth walking over to the kitchen to check on her mother, lend an extra hand, or just hang around and chat. Okay, despite the constant pressure to their world, Betty had no intention of becoming a divinity student. She graduated from high school in 1946 and went directly to Moore College of Art right across the river from the University of Pennsylvania, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so let's go get to the meat of this, all right, because she talks about her relationship with him and, all right, now this is very important, okay? Fellow Crozer seminarian and King friend Marcus Wood, this is King's friend at the time, in a particular understood some of what spurred ML's attraction. He says, quote, I suppose he thought that here I am out of the South now and not back home. Wood said in a 1986 interview, quote, out in the open, nothing illegal, a free place. Sure, I can go over and talk to this white girl. He said King used to go over to their house quite often to see her. All right, ML felt at ease with Betty. It was the enthusiasm with which he spoke on a wide range of topics that first attracted her. He would talk and talk and talk, Betty says. At first, they discussed his time in the South and how different it was from the idealized culture within the seminary. He didn't know yet, but according to Betty, one thing ML knew at age 19 was that he could change the world. Oh, he knew because he was being handled. He knew, and they knew. This is why this is finna get deep. All right? All right? And so what I want to let y'all know as this goes on, I'm going to let y'all know that they placed her with them because initially, see, they let you know. This is why reading comprehension and skills is important. This is why our children got to know the real history, but they also have to have reading comprehension skills to be able to decode the information that they are receiving. Okay? Because what they were initially going to do was going to set Martin Luther King up with this white girl, Betty Mowat. All right? Because this is how far, remember, his whole thing was about integration. And Martin Luther King was madly in love with this white woman. He fell for her. You see what I'm saying? And this bitch, obviously, she got esoteric ties. We're going to let you know that that's the case. She stayed on Crozer campus. Her family had intimate ties with Crozer Theosophical Society because that's what it was. It was a secret society. All right. And these are the individuals that were pushing out these people. All right. If you want to call them, remind you, I'm not going to call them agents. I'm not going to call them none of that. You draw your own conclusions from the information that I present to you. Okay. That's the job of facts over feelings. All right. But it talks about how it said, at this point, they became more comfortable on campus, sitting on benches and talking about their plans and goals for the future because she was a part of this. In full view of ML's classmates and teachers. When asked if she had concerns about how they might be seen, Betty shrugs. Quote, I never noticed. I always had a tan and dark brown hair. But the 20-year-old ML was more aware of the potential social fallout because they thought that she could pass. Remember how we always talk about one drop of black blood and stuff, octamaroons, quadroons and all that, how a lot of them would bleed themselves into white society. This is what white folks were attempting to do too as well, to merge into the movement. And obviously, as you see her last name, you know what so-called people that she was truly associated with, right? But the point being is that she wanted to pass. They thought they could also pass her off as black. And I'm going to show you why that's the case too as well, because she looks damn near like Coretta Scott King. Let's go right to the photo. Bam, right there. That's her right there. In this video, the white woman Martin Luther King wanted to marry. She damn near looks like Coretta Scott King. Oh man. All right. Let me see if I get, I'm letting this go for a second. I want to check, make sure it's sound because some people say they got sound, some people don't before I start the cooking because we about to start cooking in this motherfucker. And let me know if ones y'all got sound. If y'all got sound right quick. So I'm gonna wait. Obviously there's a delay. I know Kyle like, wow. Oh, yeah, we about to break the doors up. We just getting started. Man, you know, hey, Rue, my job is to only bring y'all the heat. Okay, ones, all right. So, yeah, all right. That's the thing. Okay? So now you see her. It's pictures in here. This video, when you look at it, and it's only got 651 views. A lot of people don't know this about Martin Luther King, right? But, you know, we know that they always get these plants and stuff. These are government operations and shit. This is how far they really wanted to take it. But they knew that because it was too contentious and that it was too much of they were taking too much of a chance because of all the hostility, going on between the races. They know that they weren't going to be able to get away with that. That was too soon. All right. So they had to go with something else. And they just chose Coretta Scott King. Of course, ain't nothing wrong with our light skinned sisters, but they chose the lighter one because they know that, the closer to whiteness, the more you would associate these people with a peaceful nature, with a nature that can be compromised with. Nothing could be further from the truth. Nothing could be further from the truth. All right. So, as we look into this, this is just one of them. This is just one of these, individuals that they set aside for us. Hold on one second. One of the individuals that they set aside for us. And like I said, all this is going to be deep. And as we go into this, I always want to preface this by talking about, I know some of these people are many people's heroes. When I did this video the first time on my very first YouTube channel and stuff, I had said that, I told people my particular thoughts of this individual. But all I'm about to do is present the information. I'm going to show you how critical this is. We're finna weave together this story with with dates and with facts, that how it should be. And we want to let you decide for yourself, were these people working for you or were they working against you? Line up the dates, the logic. This is called devastating logic. As we weave all of these things together, we understand that something is out of place. And what's out of place, we know has been getting us stuck in the rut this whole time because we continue to keep dealing with compartmentalized thought. They teach us through this K through 12 mindfuck. They give us a book and they give us 1 to 2, 3 chapters. Then you're passed over to the next grade. You get 5 or 6 chapters, and then you're passed on. And then you run around thinking like you got a holistic worldview, like you got a full idea of what the world is. Nothing could be further from the truth. All right. So many times it is not our fault because this is the education that we have received. But the responsibility of FOF Squad is to deconstruct that, break that down, and get you into a mindset where it encourages a paradigm shift. Now, one of the other individuals we need to talk about and center on is one of the most controversial figures in our history, but is also one of the most appreciated individuals in terms of their towering reputation and respect and admiration they get from the conscious community and from black people. And that person is no other than Marcus Garvey. Where, a lot of people know a lot of his story, but the information I'm about to present to you, obviously much of you don't know. And then too, as well, we got to put all of the other variables involved as we conduct this experiment so that we can draw a conclusion that allows us to, like we said, see things in the proper light. So as we take a look at him, let's prime this right quick. All right, because we're going to see, we know that this is now, as we set the table, we know that it was one person in particular that disagreed with Du Bois. It's a couple things that they say about Marcus Garvey. They talked about how Marcus Garvey was doing all of this for his people, right? And he had created this star line and he was trying to take people back to Africa. And this is almost seen and promoted as a new concept. So at the very least, even if people don't think about this person being questionable in character, one thing that you will have to come to the conclusion of is that the acts was questionable, because we're going to show you the history of how this was established. Because to promote this is something that was new, that it was a Pan-African movement, that this was something new, that Marcus Garvey came up with this concept. Nothing could be further from the truth. I'm about to blow the doors down in this shit. Oh, this is Black History Month, so let's kick some doors down, all right? But first, let's go to the argument by W.E.B. Du Bois, who challenged Marcus Garvey. And a lot of people thought that W.E.B. Du Bois was hating, but W.E.B. Du Bois was saying that there were some questionable things going on in the UNIA, or the United Negro Improvement Association, which Marcus Garvey started, okay? So he was saying, okay, well, he's taking the money, siphoning off the money from the black community, and he's not producing anything, all right? Now, a lot of people challenge W.E.B. Du Bois, but the thing that is crazy about W.E.B. Du Bois died in Africa. Marcus Garvey, let's look at the facts, never made one trip to Africa. Never even set foot on the soil, was educated in London. Now, I want you to remember and recall this stuff. He was educated in London. All right, taught finance, and then went back to Jamaica, started the UNIA, and then obviously made his way to the United States. Now, this is key. Let's look at Du Bois' argument. Let me prep this right quick. We about to get into some fire, brothers and sisters. We about to get into some fire. All right, so hold on one second. Hold on one second. sad. All right. So I'm going to share my screen. This is from localhost. History Matters, the U.S. Survey course on the web. All right, and you know, the title is "The Collapse of the Only Thing in the Garvey Movement Which Was Original or Promising." Du Bois on Garvey. All right. After fighting World War I ostensibly to defend democracy and the right of self-determination, thousands of African-American soldiers returned home to face intensified discrimination, segregation, and racial violence. Drawing on this frustration, Marcus Garvey attracted thousands of disillusioned black working class and lower middle class followers to his Universal Negro Improvement Association. The UNIA, committed to notions of racial purity and separatism, insisted that salvation for African Americans meant building an autonomous black-led nation in Africa. The Black Star Line, an all-black shipping company and chartered by the UNIA, was the movement's boldest and most important project, and many African Americans bought shares of stock in the company. For all its grandeur and promise, however, the Black Star Line was soon beset by financial and legal problems, largely resulting from Garvey's mismanagement. The company folded only a few years after its founding. The company's collapse was detailed in an essay by black intellectual W.E.B. Du Bois, who cast doubt on Garvey's trustworthiness and suspicion on UNIA's overall program. All right, let's read. This print is really small, so you guys got to bear with me for a second. All right. The main economic venture of Marcus Garvey was the Black Star Line. Now, mind you, you got to understand, Marcus Garvey had copied the Black Star Line off of the White Star Line, which was started by J.P. Morgan. Not started by J.P. Morgan, ended up buying it from somebody else, but it was J.P. Morgan. He was in love with these financiers. Remember, he was educated in London. He was highly influenced by these crackers. You see what I'm saying? And this is the problem a lot of times when people, a lot of our intellectuals and a lot of our people have said, when we try to mimic what the Blanco does, it always fails because Mother Nature tells you, you ain't supposed to be copying shit this Blanco doing, because the artificial matrix relies on him exploiting the earth. Remember, I told you in that book that I got, the ship, the gun, and the pen. All right. Remember, it talked about how it took about 100,000 trees just to build these big ass ships. You got to destroy Mother Nature to keep up with this Blanco. All right, let's continue. All right. The steaming venture was the foundation stone of Garvey's rise to popularity among Negroes. African migration is a century-old and pretty thoroughly discredited dream. Autonomous African Negro states have been forecast by scores of Negro leaders and writers, but a definite plan to unite Negrodom by a line of steamships was a brilliant suggestion and Garvey's only original contribution to the race problem. But ask the critic, can it be done? Has Garvey the business sense? Can he raise the capital? Can he gather the men? All right, man, this print is small and it's giving me a little trouble, you guys. Sorry about that. The staggering losses on the ship Yarmouth, no hint appears in Mr. Garvey's glowing speeches concerning the Black Star Line, or in the advertisements in the Negro World, or even in the first annual financial report issued in 1920. No losses whatsoever are recorded there. The Yarmouth is entered at full value and an organization expense of $289,000. Okay, is put down as an asset because it is an organization expense. It was also recorded. We have much to be thankful for in that no unfortunate accident has befallen us. That's in quotes. The Yarmouth made 3 trips to the West Indies in 3 years. It was then docked for repairs. The bill was apparently not paid for in December 1921. The first boat of the Black Star Line was sold by U.S. Marshall for $1,625. So this is also demystifies this myth. Like a lot of people be like, oh, W.B. Du Bois and all these people, they snitched on Marcus Garvey. They was making him hot. He was buying him shits from the U.S. government. They knew about Marcus Garvey. And I'm going to show you clear evidence that they knew about Marcus Garvey. You the only one lost. Oh, he popped out of nowhere. Let me stop because y'all gonna think that I'm not, I'm just giving this information. King Malik says, I remember when you made a 4-part series on God. Oh, yeah, but I got to just give you the information and let you decide for yourself, all right? The steamer Kananawa was listed in the Black Star report as worth $75,000. Garvey swore that he paid $60,000 for it. It was apparently bought to do a small carrying trade between the West Indian islands. The Kanawha left New York about Eastern Time, 1921, and sailed, obviously that'll probably be at 7 o'clock p.m., for Cuba in the West Indies. Garvey testified in court that with another ship was repaired in dry dock and sailed from here, she broke down between Cuba and the Virginia coast, and we had to tow her back to New York. We had to spend $70,000 or $80,000 on that boat. The Negro World announced that the boat, quote, arrived in Cuba in a blaze of glory April 16th, quote. But according to the New York Evening World, the boat was held up in Cuba because of boiler troubles, although several $1,000s had been recently spent on new boilers. Finally, she was tied up in Santiago de Cuba, and the United States government brought the crew back. The boat itself has never reappeared. See, this is, I'm telling you. So remember, once again, all this talk about the FBI and everybody didn't know about them. U.S. government, if the U.S. government, when you known the U.S. government to come save Negroes? Huh? When you ever known the U.S. government to come bring Negroes back? We got our brothers and sisters from Haiti all the time, nigga. We seen the news coverage and shit, them jumping on horses, whipping our brothers and sisters. Get your ass back. But they coming to save these Negroes, and I'm going to let you know why. I'm going to let you know the sick plan of the Blanco, right? Okay, it says the Shady Side was listed by the Black Star Line as worth $35,000. It did a small excursion business up the Hudson during the summer in March 1921. And the Shady Side lay on the beach side, North River, at the foot of the 157th Street, and was in a hopeless condition, quite beyond repair. The three first boats of the Garvey fleet disappeared, and if the Black Star Line's own figures and Mr. Garvey's statements of losses are true, this involves a total disappearance of at least $630,000 of the hard-earned savings of colored folk. Now remember, this W.E.B. Du Bois saying this, not my words. This is literally, you're looking at something that W.E.B. Du Bois had wrote. So we getting in that real time sense, we getting somebody, whether you want to say that his criticisms were unhealthy and probably counterproductive to the people. This is somebody who lived during that time. And so, of course, let's get our emotions out of it and deal with the facts and see that this may have been a viable, outlook, of how things really actually went during that time. All right. And W.E. Du Bois was concerned. People might not have actually agreed with him because they felt like he was educated, came from a white college, but all of them were. You can't sit up here and say W.E. Du Bois was a sellout because he was educated through a white college. Garvey was educated in a white college too, and educated in London. Stop the cap. I'm killing you niggas. Okay. But the three first boats of the Garvey fleet disappeared, and if the Black Star Lines, okay, so we read that part. But this is not all. On Sunday night, April 10th, according to the Negro World of April 16th, 1921, quote, unexpectedly, like a bolt of lightning, came the announcement at Liberty Hall tonight that the Black Star Line Steamship Corporation expected by May 1st next to float the Phyllis Wheatley, its latest addition to the corporation's line of steamships to engage in transportation between the country and Africa. The news was hailed with wild expressions of joy and delight by the immense audience that filled the Great Hall. The ship was said to carry 4,500 tons of cargo and 2,000 passengers, was equipped with electric lights, fans, music, and smoking rooms, and refrigerating machinery, end quote. Beginning in April and continuing for 7 or more months, there appeared advertisements announcing, quote, passengers and freight for the West Indies and West Africa by the SS Phyllis Wheatley, sailing on or about April 25th, or without definite date. When the delegates came to the Black Star Line business convention August 1st, they naturally asked to see the Phyllis Wheatley. But a delegate, Noah Thompson, says, quote, none of the boasted ships were shown to the delegates, who were daily promised that on tomorrow the ships would be shown. Mr. Thompson said that he was in New York for 35 days and with others persisted in demanding to be shown the ships, but was told daily that they could see the ships tomorrow, quote, end quote, later, but tomorrow never came. Okay? What excuses does Mr. Garvey offer to his failures? The excuses are various and extraordinary. First, and perhaps the most astonishing, is the following statement by the Negro World of Negro World of January 21st, 1922. Quote, all the troubles we have held on our ships have been caused because men are paid to make the troubles by certain organizations calling themselves Negro Advancement Association. They paid men to dismantle our machinery and otherwise damage it so as to bring about the downfall of the movement. Quote, end quote. That's Marcus Garvey saying that. Okay. Secondly, Mr. Garvey alleges gigantic quote unquote conspiracies. He said, as reported in the Negro World, May 13th, 1922 at Liberty Hall, quote, millions of dollars were expended in the shipping industries to boycott and put out of existence the Black Star Line, quote. End quote. In the Negro World of January 28, 1922, he adds, quote, the matter of my arrest last week for the alleged fraudulent use of the mail is but a concoction decided upon by the unseen forces operating against us to find some criminal excuse by which the promoter of the greatest movement among Negroes could be held up to world scorn and ridicule, thereby exposing the movement to contempt. It is a mean, low-down, contemptible method of embarrassing any movement for human uplift. He also says that Bolsheviks, quote unquote, are paying for attacks on the line. Negro World, December 14th, 1921. All right. Thirdly and chiefly, Mr. Garvey accuses his associates and employees of dishonesty. In the Negro World, February 18, 1922, Mr. Garvey writes off a quote-unquote treacherous plot against him and of a great state of demoralization in the Black Star Line during his absence, and of the tricks and dishonesty of a few employees of the Black Star Line. In the Negro World of December 24, 1921, he says, quote, through the dishonesty of some of the so-called educated, Garvey has had to suffer many reverses, business transactions and financial arrangements, which Garvey was too busy to attend to himself and left to others, opened up the door for several of these so-called educated whom he trusts to represent him and to rob and cheat the organization and thus make it harder for Garvey to protect and represent the interests of the people. Finally, Mr. Garvey alleges his own lack of experience in the shipping business. Marcus Garvey is not a navigator. He is not a marine engineer. He is not even a good sailor. Therefore, the individual who would criticize Marcus Garvey for a ship of the Black Star Line is not making a success of a sea is a fool. Marcus Garvey consequently writes in the Negro World of April 1st, 1922, we have suspended the activities of the Black Star Line. All right. So let's. So even deeper, this is the thing that we got to understand. Even deeper than that is, remember, let's give you a little detail that this article doesn't give you. So he was arrested for mail fraud because he had bought a ship called the SS Phillis Wheatley. Mind you, he's buying these ships from the U.S. government. So once again, talking about how these black sellouts then ousted Marcus Garvey and made him visible to the FBI. And then, you know, Hoover said, oh, he's the most dangerous man and this, that, the other is a falsehood. He was literally buying his ships from the U.S. government. So he bought the ship called the SS Phillis Wheatley, as you've seen in this, what W.E.B. Du Bois got from the convention. The delegates came, they invested, black people had money. Because what you got to recall, this is during Tulsa, Oklahoma. This is during Rosewood when black people had their own financial empires and institutions. Garvey got them to invest in Wall Street. The Blancos seen these niggas making money. They had nobody to come siphon off the money from the black community. Look at how many times the money exchanged hands in the black community before it left. So this figure pops up, Garvey, he gets them to invest in government stocks called the Black Star Line, which was modeled after the White Star Line by J.P. Morgan. Okay? So with that being said, hold on one second. So with that being said, they find out, they're like, okay, we can't see the ship. Where's the ship? We getting you for mail fraud. So Garvey takes it upon himself to represent himself in court. Yes. Now you see where Dr. Umar gets his confidence from. This nigga represents himself in court. Okay? Represents himself in court. And he ends up doing 2 years, right? Which adds up. Well, they gave him 33 months. Because you know how the Illuminati work. They gave him 33 months. Okay? His sentence was commuted. And you know who pardoned Marcus Garvey? Now, this is the most dangerous man in the world. You know who pardoned Marcus Garvey from prison? You know who released Marcus Garvey from prison? The president, Calvin Coolidge. Yes, the president, Calvin Coolidge. And the Secretary of State for Calvin Coolidge administration at that time was a guy by the name of Andrew Mellon. Andrew Mellon was so nefarious. Matter of fact, he was the one they said was responsible for sending the United States into a depression. He had so much power within the Calvin Coolidge administration, they actually call it in history the Andrew Mellon administration. So we have to say, by virtue of the power that Andrew Mellon had, he was the one who freed Marcus Garvey, because Marcus Garvey had persuaded through the evidence that was presented, especially by W.E. Du Bois, was that they got a lot of money from the black population to be siphoned off from our community. They know we weren't investing in Wall Street. We weren't fucking with Blancos. We wasn't fucking with Blancos, okay? Now, let's continue to keep going. All right, you said, I know this answer is late, but MLK real name was Michael. I had to go find it. Kelly Green. Yep. Appreciate that. All right. All right, I'm just looking at the chat a little bit. The Rosa Parks Institution was a reenacted actual situation was Claudia. Okay. All right. So okay. So what we're going to see the symbolism too as well. Let's go to another article. I'm going to show you a little something, because then, we don't do nothing without the esoteric being behind this stuff, man. Y'all got to understand this. You got to understand this stuff. And we're going to show you why this is important. We're going to get through a lot of this stuff, right? All right. So let me share my screen right quick. All right, Cross of African Redemption. Now, when Marcus Garvey started this UNIA, Universal Negro Improvement Association, he loved military regalia. He, like I say, was educated in London. He was a big fan of Napoleon. This hat that he has is what's called a Napoleon bicorn. All right, pause. Let's go to sidebar right quick. Right, we're finna show you what a Napoleon bicorn is. Right, Napoleon, his hat explained. All right, just so that you know, because our job is to get educated. Chances are, if you've seen photos of Napoleon Bonaparte's iconic hat, the hat is a quintessential aspect of French history. Napoleon Bonaparte wore a bicorn hat featuring a red, white, and blue cockade. All right, so let's go down to the meat of this. Let's figure out what a bicorn hat is. All right, what is a bicorn hat? The word bicorn, also spelled bicorn, means two-cornered or two-horned. The term refers to the hat's bottom corner, sharp angles that make up a fan-like semicircular brim. The crown of the Napoleonic bicorn juts out, giving it a rounded look joining together at the two pinch ends. All right, so that's what this is. All right, let's go back to this Garvey article. All right. Now, Garvey's wearing the Napoleon bicorn. He also has the medal right here on him. This is a very famous medal. It's the only medal that was issued by the UNIA. It was called the Cross of African Redemption. Okay. Now, the Cross of African Redemption, here is a picture of it right here. The Cross of African Redemption. It was modeled after the crosses, from the French Royal Society. You see what I'm saying? Because he was very much involved with the elite, educated by them and pushed out by them, in my opinion, as the evidence suggests. Okay. All right. But we know that the world communicates through signs and symbols. So this is key. You see what I'm saying? Now, I don't care who's mad. I know we're going to make a lot of people angry with this information, but it doesn't go one way or the other with me. If Marcus Garvey has such an impression upon you that it caused you to do good for your people, then good for that. But it still is nice for us to know all of the variables involved when they put together these grand experiments and push it out on our people. This is key for our understanding. All right. So this is why I'm letting you know this. Okay. Now, the point being is that, let's go to, it was also made by the Robbins Company. Now, the Robbins Company is deep off into esoteric shit too as well. We're just going to take a real quick look. The Robbins Company, if you go to archive.com, you look at the Robbins Company, let's see, we go to page 7, because, I had to quickly read through these things. I believe it's on page 7. Okay, it says on page 7, we have a customer who is interested in getting a quantity of, what does it say? Of coins that will be copies of imitations of the old Babylonian coins that were in use during Solomon's time. So this is where, he went and got the UNIA medal made. These people were of esoteric. You see these Masonic symbols, the owl and all of that different stuff from the Robbins Company. So we just let you know how deep this is, how, you tied into this esoteric stuff. And you also got to understand, let me close this out for a second. You also have to understand the nature of the time. Remember, this is a time when the Blanco was doing real bad. Remember, he's saying that he's in a recession. The Blanco is broke. He's in a recession. Look at his history. He's in a depression. But he's only wanting to count you, and he got to go ahead and destroy your towns now because he's mad. He's broke. He's mad. He's broke. And now they got to send out people to get you to invest in them. And, you know, from what the evidence is presented in W.E.B. Du Bois' argument is that they sent out Marcus Garvey in order to do that, to siphon out the community. If you go ahead and type in what $600,000 is in today's money, you dealing with multi-millions. And remind you, Marcus Garvey never went to London. Even after he got released from prison, he went to West Kensington, London, an affluent neighborhood, and he died there in 1940. Okay, that's what happened to Garvey. All right. And that is the case with that. So, I mean, this is important because this is Black history, right? This is Black history. So this is something that we have to take a look at. Now, why was this important? Because remember the concept that we talking about like, okay, Garvey came up with this Pan-African movement. Nothing could be further from the truth. Remember, let's go back. Let's do something. Let's go into something very, very important because like I told y'all, this Blanco is real sneaky, right? And we're going to show you how sneaky they really actually are. How sneaky they really, because we know to the victors goes the spoils, man, that they took the opportunity to rewrite history as they see fit, which of course obviously becomes our worldview. But the point is that, I mean, when you see how crazy this stuff is, man, it just, I don't know why anybody would not be blown away by all of this. All right. So I'm finna share my screen. We're finna talk about two very important institutions, all right? Let's go. And we finna look at the dates. Now, Encyclopedia Britannica, American Colonization Society. The American Colonization Society dedicated to transporting freeborn blacks and emancipated slaves to Africa. It was founded in 1816 by Robert Finley, a Presbyterian minister, some of the country's most influential men, all right? Including Francis Scott Key, Henry Clay, and Bushrod Washington, nephew of George Washington, and the society's first president. Support for it came from local and state branches and from churches. That's why you gotta understand how important the church is. Obviously, we know it because it was started by somebody from the Presbyterian church, all right? And the federal government provided some initial funding. So the federal government, you got to think about this. The federal government, who you claim is trying to enslave you, who wrote the Emancipation Proclamation before Lincoln even freed the slaves, the United States was trying to send you niggas back to Africa. I am about to kill you niggas. Okay? The membership was overwhelmingly white with some clergymen and abolitionists, but also a large number of slave owners. What? So slave owners was trying to send free niggas back to Africa? Are y'all, man, this is Black History Month. We about to blow the doors off of Black fucking history. Okay? Because you know I don't bring nothing but the heat. All right? Their excuse is, look, notice the Blanco, look at the mayonnaise. It said that this is a sentiment that they talked about was being expressed by the individuals of the day. And all generally agree with the prevailing view of the time that free blacks could not be integrated into white America. This is, first of all, let's get a concept. Because we cannot do what I used to call, hold on, let me talk to you right quick because I ain't scared of y'all. We got to prevent ourselves from what I call anthropomorphizing, anachronistic. I'm sorry. Anachronistic thinking means that you begin to look at the past as how the world is now. When we look at the United States, we think of the United States was like it is now. You know, no, nothing could be further from the truth. This is how I'm letting you know that these Blancos were sending out individuals and agents, and we're going to establish this without a shadow of a doubt. You know what I'm saying? To colonize these places, right? And so what we finna show you is that, hold on, what we finna show you, let me get this right quick. Let's look at something right quick. Because you got to get an idea. You can't have an anachronistic mindset. Let me get this right quick. Because I forgot. I wanted to talk to y'all. I forgot I got to show you this image first before I get to talking to you. All right. So let me share my screen again, and then I'm going to come back and talk to you. All right, this is the History Channel. 13 colonies. You see this shit right here. This is, they're actually called territories. Remind you, the French is in here. The Spanish is in here. They don't control shit. Mind you, there is no United States. And also, even if you talk to a lot of historians, you will recognize that the 20th century or the 1900s is something that they call the age of naturalization, where they tried to get all Europeans to come together under this idea of being the white race. A very profound movie about that is called The Gangs of New York with Leonardo DiCaprio. All right. They knew the difference between each other because they all had accents. You knew who was from France. You knew who was from Spain because you could tell from the way that they talked, the language that they spoke. So the 20th century was a big effort on part of the federal government to get whiteness as a race collectively because they knew that they were under the gun in terms of numbers, and they always have been. But these are your 13 colonies, okay? And much of this is not even established. All right, so remind you around this time before the Civil War, as supposedly as they sending niggas across the Atlantic, they also sending niggas back to Africa? Make this shit make sense. Hold on, hold up. Hold up, as I prime this right quick. Because I got to prime something for you right quick. Because I'm going to talk to you. I'm finna talk to you right quick. All right? Hold on 1 second. Where is it at? Okay. All right. Now, we go. This from Temple University and shit. You can look this up. All right. Pennsylvania Colonization Society. Founded in 1826, the Pennsylvania Colonization Society was an anti-slavery organization which advanced the project of returning free blacks to West Africa. From 1835 through 1865, the Pennsylvania Colonization Society published a monthly Colonization Herald and Journal Red, blah, blah, blah. So you get all of that. Why is this important? This is important because the president of the Philadelphia, of the Pennsylvania Colonization Society is Cozaire. Who is Cozaire? Or hold on. What's this? Let me get the name right, brothers and sisters. Crozier. Yeah, Crozier. Who is Crozier? Let me share my screen. John Price Crozier was an American textile manufacturer, banker, president of the board of directors of the American Baptist Publication Society, and philanthropist from Pennsylvania. Okay, this is the founder of the Theosophical School Martin Luther King went to. This is the guy that the white girl that Martin Luther King was set up with was friends with. And he was also president of the Pennsylvania Colonization Society, the Pennsylvania, let me get this right. Colonization Society, right? Like you have the American Colonization Society. So he was a part of this movement to take blacks back to Africa. And why was this? Was this for our freedom? Was this to start us over? You see what I'm saying? Was this to, what I'm saying, give blacks a free start because they could? No, not of course, because we're going to look at a person by the name of Charles Taylor, right? Remember Charles Taylor? Hold on, let me talk to y'all. Let me talk to y'all right quick, because this is why I want to talk to y'all. Because we got to get the timelines right. You got to understand something. Okay, now you got the timeline. Remind you, let's walk for a second. Let's, because before I was an alchemist, I was an avid historian. I loved history. And I think that when I was growing up, I was a bookworm. And people would be like, man, you learned I was shot off all these European names. And I remember, man, with so many people back in the day when they noticed it, it was like, man, what you filling up your head for with all these names? And I never even knew why. But it's coming back to bite these Blancos, because I know your history better than you do. All right. And the Most High has blessed me with the ability to put it all together. So let's put these dots together. OK, so now you're seeing around this time you have the start of the Colonization Society, where they're sending Negroes back to Africa. This is this movement for you to go back to Africa. This is before Marcus Garvey. They're trying to get us Negroes to go to Africa. Why? Because they have people that they plant. All right, remember, look at America now. It hasn't been established. Europeans are not unified. There's no unity. They're warring with each other. Matter of fact, Pennsylvania was the main site of the French and Indian War. Now, don't get misled by the title French and Indian War. The French were warring alongside the Indians against the British. Okay? And Pennsylvania is where a lot of that took site. All right? So you have blacks, if you want to call them Indians, indigenous, or whatever you want to call it. We know that these people were of a particular hue. So the emelanated species or the Christologians were warring with these individuals because they feared expansion. Okay, this is particularly one of the reasons why in 1763, what date did I say? 1763. It was called the Proclamation Line of 1763, which King King James, no, not King James, but it was either King Charles or King George. King George, I think the 7th or the 8th, had issued a proclamation that stated that you couldn't go for westward expansion. That made these Blancos mad. That made them mad. So they came up out through the mountains. Of course, we see the significance. They came out through the mountains and expanded and warred against that idea because they wanted to expand and take this over. All right. And so you couple that with the idea of what? Now, mind you, this is not America as you see it, because they're warring with the French. The French is a mighty empire at this time. Napoleon is at the height of his power. He's forced to sell the Louisiana, which is a territory. This is about 14 states. The Louisiana Purchase occurred in around 1803 or 1804. We know why Napoleon had to sell it, because he's losing power, because he's fighting Britain, the British, right? And then he has this slave revolt to deal with over in Haiti. So he's forced to sell it for money to pay for his war campaign against the British. Now, also in 1819, you have the Adams-Honest Treaty. Adams-Honest Treaty is when they sold East and West Florida to the United States. So this is deep, because remember, East and West Florida was ran by Napoleon's brother. That's how deep this shit is. Okay, so a lot of this land, a lot of this power that you think the Blanco has, he did not have. He was not unified. These 13 colonies were small, and he was trying to send agents to the real prize. He was trying to send agents to the real prize. Okay, so we know as we take a look, let's take a look. First, let's understand what Liberia is. Let's watch these Blancos double talk too. Let's watch these Blancos double talk. I'm finna pull up an article. Okay. Gonna pull up an article. We finna get to reading in this bitch. Liberia, country along the coast of Western Africa. Liberia's terrain ranges from the low and sandy coastal plains to rolling hills and dissected plateau further inland. The country is home to a lush rainforest containing a rich diversity of flora and fauna, blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's get to the meat of this shit. Liberia. Now watch the mayonnaise. Watch the mayonnaise in this bitch. That's why I tell you why it's so important for our children to know how to read. And remember, reading comprehension is vital to reading. If you cannot understand what you have read, nigga, you cannot read. Now, it says Liberia is the only black state in Africa never subjected to colonial rule and is Africa's oldest republic. Notice what this Blanco just said. And in the same breath, watch this fork-tongued devil talk. He says, it was established on land acquired for people who formerly had been enslaved in the United States by the American Colonization Society. So hold up. It was started by the American Colonization Society, and then you say it's the only state that was not subjected to colonial rule? Bitch, it was literally started by an institution called the American Colonization Society. Notice how these Blancos, can you see the magic? You see the spell work? Do you see the spell work? Okay. Now, why is all of this important? Why is all this important? We finna go to somebody called Charles Taylor. Now, let's go. Still the same source, Encyclopedia Britannica. Charles Taylor, this guy right here, he was a warmonger. The international community was up in arms, this motherfucker. This is the motherfucker who ran Liberia. This is the place that they were trying to get you to go to. Now I'm finna break the camel's back on niggas. Watch how I set fire to this shit. Okay? Born January 27, 1948, Liberian politician and guerrilla leader who served as Liberia's president from 1997 until he was forced into exile in 2003. He was widely held responsible for the country's devastating civil war during the 1990s and for crimes committed during the civil war in neighboring Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone was started in 1787 by the British, okay, with some black people and some white prostitutes. Okay, so Sierra Leone, you gotta understand, Sierra Leone, Liberia is bordered by Sierra Leone and also Cote d'Ivoire, which is the Ivory Coast, a French settlement, a settlement established by the British, and you got Liberia established by the United States. What were they trying to do? Remember, by 1884, the Berlin Conference, they splitting up Africa. So they got this real calculated motherfucking plan going on. But let me continue. All right, Taylor was the son of a judge, a member of the elite in Liberia, descended from the freed American slaves who colonized the region in the early 19th century. I am killing you niggas. Woo! Do you see the plan now? Do you see the plan now? Okay. He attended college in the United States, where in 1977 he received a degree in economics. Shades of a lot of people. They go to these colleges, pop out, and then begin to tell Negroes we stupid. We don't know what to do with our lives. We don't know what to do with our spiritual energy. We don't know what to do with our sexual energy. We got to be guided. Okay? Now, why is this important? Side note, I'm finna ask y'all a question. Let me close this out right quick because I'm cooking. I don't give a fuck with nobody. Now, we know that he was educated. We know that he was educated in the United States. All right. Question for in the chat. Now I'm finna show y'all how deep this is, and once again, watch how it circle back. You're gonna be like, I can't believe this shit. How all of this shit circles back, because we see the Blanco behind all of this esoteric shit. Blanco woman specifically, right? Because we told you she plays a very sophisticated role. Now, this is the thing. How many people heard of alma mater? You know, it's like you hear somebody like, "What was your alma mater?" How many people heard that? Now I'm gonna wait because obviously there's a delay. What do you think that means? Without having to think about, first thing that pop in your head when somebody says, "Oh, what's your alma mater?" You heard this in movies with colleges and all of this different shit. What is your alma mater? Okay, what does that mean to you guys in the chat? I want to see. I have to wait because there's a delay, but let's see what's going on. Say Hamichi says college, alma mater. Yup, that's what. All right. What do y'all think the definition means? When you hear somebody say, "What's your alma mater?" What did you think that it meant when somebody said that? Okay, I know you say college, yeah, because exactly you're definitely right. You're in the right high school, college you graduated from. College, a source of your knowledge. Hamichi says. Okay, what's your goals in life? Harriet Lee. Okay, I'm reading. College you graduated from. All right. Y'all ready to get your mind blown? Is y'all ready to get your mind blown? Okay. Hold on. Let me pull up this. Let me prep this right quick. I'm finna show y'all a photo. Let's work today. Let's work today, man. I don't know. Sometimes I just be pumped up for no fucking reason. I'll just be excited and shit. I don't know. Forgive me. I love giving y'all information. That's how this goes. Let's go. Let's rock. All right. This is alma mater. Okay. Alma mater is Latin for the mother who nurtured you. Alma mater is Latin for the mother who nurtured you. Okay, so technically, symbolically, and this is a statue at Columbia University of alma mater. That's what they actually call Mother Mary, the Mother Mary. You know what I'm saying? The mother of Jesus. They call her the alma mater, the mother who nurtured you. Okay, so like we said, this is deep because like when we see these people coming out of colleges, they say, "What's your alma mater?" Who is the mother who nurtured you? And we know this mother ain't black. So who once again comes up and said, "Look at the book in her lap. Look at her open arms. She's a goddess. She's taking over the goddess energy." Remember, I told you the mother nature, the mother nurture. She took over the energy. Who's your alma mater? So I got to ask you niggas out there, not my Christologians, but you niggas who stuck. And that's why I say I'll be killing you niggas, because I got to turn you into a Christologian and a diamond. I got to break that nigga mentality down that you have and reformulate you into a Christologian. All right. So, I mean, man, let's so now we see exactly what's going on. Okay, with that. All right. Now, okay, what's the purpose of this? Y'all ready to still get more deep? Hold on. Let me talk. I ain't scared of nobody in this month. I'm telling you, man. Come on, let me talk to y'all, right? So, why would they do this? You know that in order to get away with this, we talk about rewriting history. Okay? And we know that they had to change the script. They took on our story. We took on theirs. We begin to take on their personality, you know. And what made this reason why I had to drop this, because it made it so interesting. I seen this video, and it was talking about the United States going to war with they had responded and Iraq or Iran or whatever in the Middle East, these made up ass enemies, all right, of the state, of Western powers and shit, right? And what was so profound about it was that in the comment section, you know, you got white folks sitting up there talking about man is just an animal, man is a creature of war, and I was like, no, the Blanco's a creature of war. And then Blanco's are sitting up here arguing with me in the chat. No, we're all at our nature violent. It's been man. No, it's been us. See, this is the part. I told you what they was gonna do. Remember, they got us being the face of their degenerate energy. They want you to go down with the ship. They now talk about, now on one hand, they want to say, oh, we created everything. We gave you Western civilization. Well, if you want all the kudos, bitch, you got to take all the blame too. If you the quarterback, don't the quarterback get the glory and the blame? Well, bitch, you throwing interceptions. You throwing pick sixes, bitch. All right? You get the fucking blame. You know, it's your world being torn down. It's you sitting up there throwing oil into the oceans, you know, and waste, deforestation. Okay. And it's like hundreds of species going extinct every day. You call it the sixth wave of extinction. This is your world you built, and we're living in it. We are experiencing the American nightmare. How could it ever have been the American dream? Once you know that the artificial matrix is built off of destroying the natural matrix, you should already knew MLK was a fucking agent. I said it. Yeah, I said it. I said it. You know what I'm saying? All right. So, and he was close to these so-called Jewish people, these chosen motherfuckers that now make their God all inclusive. All right. What was the point of this? Now, like we said, this is the point when you craft your narrative. Let's go into some deep science. All right. Now, I'm going to share my screen. The Origin of the Word Ghetto, a Historical Explanation by Linda Calloway, September 27, 2023, the date on which it was published. Okay, have you ever wondered about the origin of the word ghetto? It's a term that often used to describe impoverished urban areas, but its roots go much deeper than that. The word has a rich historical background that sheds light on the experiences of marginalized communities throughout history. In this article, we delve into the historical explanation of the word ghetto and explore its origins from its beginnings in medieval Europe to its modern-day connotations. We'll uncover the context and significance behind the powerful term. What is the origin of the word ghetto? The word ghetto has its origins in the Venetian dialect of Italian. It originally referred to a confined space within the city where Jews were compelled to live during the 16th century. So even in Italy and Rome, they were confining these Jews into ghettos. The term was derived from the Italian word ghetto, meaning foundry or iron foundry, which was in the vicinity of the Jewish quarter in Venice. The area was chosen as a designated place for Jews to live due to its undesirable conditions and limited space. Okay? The establishment of ghettos has significant historical implications for Jewish communities. It represented a form of forced segregation and marginalization, where Jews were confined to a specific area and subjected to various forms of discrimination and persecution. The ghetto served as a means of social control and isolation, often leading to the exacerbation of poverty and the spread of disease within these densely populated areas. Now, this is what I'm about to do. I'm about to, show you another article, but this is about connecting dots. So you're going to think that this article is not related, but watch how we show you how we connect these dots. And I'm going to show you the power of concepts of devastating logic. All right. Right quick. We're finna go to this article. Give me 1 second. Hold on. Before we also do that, let's take a look at this other article on the ghettos. What were ghettos? All right. Before we go off into that, because this is UNESCO. We just want to stop without a doubt, give you credible sources and stuff like that. This is from the World Jewish Congress. Okay. Ghettos were districts of towns and cities in German occupied Eastern Europe. So even in Germany, they isolating these Jews. Okay. So we see in Italy, Germany, and mind you, Italy and Germany made part of what? The Axis of Evil along with Japan. Okay, was used with forcibly segregated from the wider population. The vast majority of ghettos were located in German-occupied Poland and territories belonging to the Soviet Union before the German invasion of 1941. The first ghetto was established in the town of Piotrkovo-Tribunalski in 1939 after the German invasion. The last ghetto to be liquidated was that of Lotz or Limitstadt in August-September 1944. Many ghettos, so it just goes off, about those. So you get it, you get the gist of that, right? All right, now let's go into this other article. Let's go into this other article that you're going to think is not even related, but I'm going to show you, I'm going to make my points, okay? English wigs, origin history. You're like, hey, bro, what in the fuck does this have to do with ghettos? This dude, I like taking 2 points from distant. I like to create wormholes. This is my Einstein-Rosen complex that I have, nigga, bringing 2 distant points together. All right, let's get into it. Below is an article that briefs about the history and the origin of the white wigs worn by the English barristers and associates in law. They have been worn since the 14th century AD. Let us see why and how. Okay, what are English wigs? A basic wig is generally a covering of artificial hair, either made from human or animal hair worn by people that need to cover their hair deficit area in the wig. In the head. Wigs have been used by both men and women for a matter of attraction or changing the look since the Egyptian times, but the English wigs or the British wigs have a whole other outlook towards the usage of wigs. Bam, as you see it, English wig worn by an Englishman. Okay. English wigs are white powdered hair coverings worn by Englishmen that belong to the law and occupation. The wigs are still worn by English barristers and judges of the court of law between the 1500s to 1700s. The wigs that are worn by the British were a sign of nobility among the Britishers. Remember that. They were a sign of nobility among the Britishers. Soon the tradition spread throughout other European countries. Origins of the wigs. The wigs began to be a fashion item in ancient Greece worn by generals. Not only that, they owned a separate wig, which was only worn as a mask or protection in battles. Okay, here's Julius Caesar. He wore a wig, all right? Julius Caesar, a Roman politician and military general, was also seen wearing a wig to hide his baldness. During 313 AD, the church banned the use of wigs. Hence, during this time, the use of wigs in ancient Europe was seen to decrease. However, as time passed by, Henry III of France was seen wearing a wig as a symbol of his boldness and spread it across Europe once again as fashion. Okay, after this, Queen Elizabeth was seen wearing wigs as a normal part of her wardrobe, and so did the men in her courtyard. By the time, the use of wigs became absolutely popular among the English community. But we want to get into why they were wearing them for a lot of times. Okay, the powder wigs were among the most popular wigs in the Middle Ages in England. The wigs were called perukes. However, from a hygiene perspective, these wigs gave an ill performance. During the 15th century, the plague hit Europe, and people were affected by many diseases such as open sores, dementia, patchy hair loss, etc. Due to the intake of high-dose antibiotics, the powdered wigs became popular in usage as many started to lose their hair. This included women too. So, this is my point. Let me talk back to y'all as I explain this. Now, this is very important stuff because what you're seeing, watch how I bridge this gap. What you're seeing first is because, one, the power of the European. He's seen and they seen and she's seen that because of their poor hygiene and poor living conditions and habits and stuff, that their vessel was degraded. But they knew that as long as they remained steadfast and turned their weaknesses to strengths, and made it signs of nobility and made these very powerful symbols, they will be able to continue on in their effort to create and establish the God complex, which you see flourishing now throughout every facet of life, period, right? So that's what they wanted to do, because a lot of us probably seen back in the day, and we see it now, even with these barristers like they talked about, still wearing these wigs, and we look at white folks wearing wigs, but black people seem like they too embarrassed, or they too something or another to ask these white folks, why in the fuck is y'all wearing these powdered wigs? Why were these individuals in American government, George Washington, and all these motherfuckers wearing wigs? It was because of their hygiene, but they turned it to a strength, just like glasses. Oh, Blancos couldn't see, and they had to be able to absorb the sun's light. Remember, we showed you in that video how the sun sees you, that you may see glass is clear, but it absorbs the sun rays, and it showed you that through a UV camera, that light is black. And the glasses absorb the sun. It allows Blancos to see it, because we've also taken on the Blanco diet and we don't nourish our melanin. A lot of us have to wear glasses too as well. But you get the point. The point is for glasses to be allowed to bend the sunlight so Blancos are allowed to see. But notice what Blancos did conceptually. You always associate a nerd with glasses. Oh, he's smart. Like, bitch, first of all, his eyes are weak. His mind is weak, his body's weak, but all of these things the Blanco turned into strengths. This is very important. This is very important. So what you say, how did this bridge the gap? The point being is what I'm showing you is that the Blanco, first let's see before I show you, wrap all my points up. I'm gonna show you how powerful this is too. I'm gonna show you how powerful this is with the Whig Society. Let me share my screen once again. The Whig Party. This is a history channel. The Whig Party. Now they all got wigs, and you can damn near tell this dude right here. But all right, the Whig Party. That's why they call themselves the Whig Party. The Whig Party was a political party. Now, mind you, the Whig Party is a royal party. It was formed in 1834 by opponents of President Andrew Jackson and his Jacksonian Democrats led by Henry Clay. Now, remember, Henry Clay was also on remember, he's on the American Colonization Institution where he's trying to send niggas supposedly back to Africa. All right. The name Whigs was derived from the English anti-monarchist party and was an attempt to portray Jackson as King Andrew. All right. Now, mind you, this how slick the Blanco is. Mind you, that the Whigs were a sign of nobility, but they was trying to make Andrew Jackson like he was the big bad boogeyman. Now, granted, let me talk to you right quick before we get into this article and shit, because I want to let you know I ain't scared of y'all right quick. What you have to understand, when Andrew Jackson became president, okay, we know that they all do nefarious shit. Andrew Jackson, obviously, in 1830 passed the Indian Removal Act. He forced niggas to walk the Trail of Tears. Okay, remember, they settled in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So even though he bounced niggas out, niggas still bounced back with amazing grace, as we always do, right? But that was the Indian Removal Act. But if you notice, Andrew Jackson was the only president in the United States history to balance the budget. The United States at that time owed $0 fucking dollars. No debt to nobody. And remind you, these Whig motherfuckers, they're with nobility. They were for a big bank. They would want the banks. Andrew Jackson didn't like the banks. He wasn't fucking with the banks. Okay? He wasn't fucking with the banks. Okay? So that's something that you got to understand. So let's go back to this article right quick. Okay, the Whigs were one of the two major political parties in the United States from the late 1830s to the early 1850s. While Jacksonian Democrats painted Whigs as the party of the aristocracy, which they were, they managed to win support from diverse economic groups and included 4 presidents. Okay. Now, why am I showing you all of this? What's so important about all of this? Okay, let me close this out. First, I wanted to show you the power of these concepts. I wanted to show you the power of obviously the ghetto concept, how it originated with the Jews. They originate, but now who takes on ghetto? Who's ghetto? Isn't it you niggas? Ain't we ghetto? Look at the Blanco, how important wigs and hair was to him and the power that it said it came from nobility. But what does he do every time he gets a chance to with our young people? Doesn't he attack our hair? You see what I'm saying? And then he created a party off. The Whig Party was literally the second party. Before the Whig Party, the United States only had one party. It ran under a one-party system. But the Blancos never teach you that in history class. Okay? The Whig Party, literally a party based off some niggas who was wearing wigs, ran around wearing wigs, talking about how we need to establish a bank, and this motherfucker's a warmonger, and he played off of niggas' heartstrings just like they do now. This wasn't the Democratic Party. This was the Whig Party at this time. Talking about niggas should be free, go back to Africa. See, that's what I said. They don't change. All they change is ideological stances. Republican, Democrat, Whigs, it don't matter. These crackers good at what the fuck they do. Reinventing themselves to hide the truth. Reinventing themselves to hide the truth. But yet now, look at all these things. The face of degenerate behavior, sexual behavior. Our people become the face of that. The face of ghetto being ghetto. Our people have become the face of that. All right. The face of not being able to, like our women, like they talk about them wearing wigs and all. This was a phenomenon by Europeans, especially the European women. But see, they had to, like I said, in subtle ways, but yet very powerful ways. They had to take your story and give you theirs in order to create the God complex. In order to create the God complex. Okay? So let me close that out right quick. All right. Now, so look, I'm looking at this chat right quick. I think we got just I want to be able to a little Q&A. Any questions or anything like that for the information being presented and stuff, because the next live It's finna be absolutely phenomenal. We finna do a retake on something else. It's finna be powerful. It's finna be absolutely powerful. This is something that I put together and I had time because I was supposed to be at work today. I was just supposed to work today. Went in for a couple hours and shit. And they was just like the machines programs was freezing and shit. So I was like, I went home and I was, I kind of hated that because you work the Saturday for the Sunday because they only gonna pay you double time if you work the Saturday. So I was wanting to work the Sunday. You see what I'm saying? Because I was like, shit, hell, want that double time. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, on that note, let's say LJ. Hey, what up with it? Mar said my guy ready for Sinetta TV. What up, LJ? Going on? What up with it, Mar? All right. So let's look into this chat. All right. Daniel Story Holocaust said I was like 15. TLA says I was like 15 saying MLK ain't do nothing but get motherfuckers beat for miles. Say went on the ass whooping campaign. Let these niggas get their ass whooped. All right. I'm mad. All right. Yep. And then Hamichi said, yeah, they do. I'm not talking about how we destroying the planet. Yep. No accountability. All right. So yeah. Crispus Harris said, you be bringing the heat, my brother. Appreciate that. Letitia Taylor said, Kiss, appreciate the love. And I always love from the sisters. Can't never turn that down. Said, brother, this is the fire. Yeah, it's mind, Angela, ain't it mind blowing? You know what I'm saying? This is a so because you gotta think about, you got motherfuckers taking ships. Could you imagine what was going on as you got niggas supposedly being shipped to the United States? Because slave owners were a part of the colonization societies. They were sending freed niggas to Africa. So could you imagine the boats crossing each other? You got niggas on the ship going to the United States as slaves, and niggas supposedly free going to Africa, and the niggas is like probably like, nigga, you headed the wrong way. Could you imagine the confusion? Niggas probably like, where y'all niggas going? Oh, we going to Africa. Remember they had to negotiate for Liberia, talk to the elders. And remember, the 10,000 people, Negroes that was foolish enough to leave to go to Liberia, over 80% of them died. Over 80% of them died. But they wanted the riches. They wanted to go over there. You seen where the riches come from. You see Charles Taylor. You go over there, you get to get all the money, the bitches, war, nigga, you get to war with no impunity. This is what the fuck you get to do. And this is what they wanted to send niggas over there for. Talking about, oh yeah, our intentions was to make sure that, freed blacks. They didn't want to live around white folks. I think it's going to be hard for them to integrate into our communities. That was not even established yet at this motherfucking time. That's what let you know it's an agenda. This is why we need to know the true history, because we keep going with these petty ass narratives, and every motherfucking February, here we go recycling the same old tunes. Well, it's time to sing another motherfucking tune, right? We were warriors. Everybody knows about the Gullah Wars, right? The longest running wars in American fucking history. The longest running wars in American fucking history. Okay, we're warriors over here. They know that. We always been warriors. We come from the Olmec lineage, or what they call the Olmecs, because remember, that was not the name that they had. And on that note, like I was discussing with my boy Mar, and we was talking about how, when we talk about our people, you gotta understand the ancestors, their luggage and their baggage comes along with that. We got a lot of these people in the conscious community talking about, oh yeah, the Olmecs, and they were, we come from the Olmecs and the Aztecs. Well, the Olmecs believed in shapeshifting, that their shamans could shapeshift. They got statues called jaguar babies, where their babies were little bitty jaguars and shit. Now, do you still represent the Olmecs? See, you niggas half-assing it. You know what I'm saying? Most of our people's on esoteric shit because you let this Blanco make you believe that our people were too dumb to realize that the earth was round, but smart enough to build pyramids. Too dumb to realize the earth was round, but smart enough to build pyramids. Too dumb to realize the earth was round, but smart enough to build big-ass Olmecs head made out of magnetic basaltic rock. This just the shit though. This just what the fuck the Blanco is capable of doing. Sako says, great show again. I couldn't sleep with such gems. It's 4 a.m. in France now. That's what's up, bro. Shouts out. Albert 432 says, facts, straight up, impossible. I was in the Navy. The Atlantic Ocean will crumble those raggedy wooden boats. Yeah, Christmas. According to the Blanco, he was not only shipping millions of Africans across from Africa, but he was also sending thousands of Africans back. I don't know how he was doing it. Christopher Columbus, they said out of the 4 voyages he went on, he crashed 9 ships. The nigga, they had no seafaring capabilities, but here's this narrative. Because they want you to be seen as a slave, they keep pumping it to you, then keep asking your ass, oh, why, Negro, why? Why you keep talking about slavery? Here's another 5 slavery movies. You niggas just can't get slavery out your mind. By the way, Black History Month, talk about how you were slaves. Like, niggas, stop it. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, this is, hopefully you guys were able to use this information as we move forward, because remember, this is all about, like we said, we know what this really is all about, the crystal work, what they came here for. We can't get lost in the sauce. That's why I tell you it's extremely important for us to always realize that, we dealing with this type of, mind fuck, the K through 12 mind fuck, replacing our spiritual practices, for religion, especially things that we can't use, is devastating. And it puts us that much further away from creating that bridge, or that Einstein-Rosen bridge, or that wormhole, so that we can get to, that reality that we know we came here for, that we fought to get here for. You see what I'm saying? And so I always want to remind you guys of that, especially on Black History Month, to do, to remain diligent. There's going to continue to be things that we're going to see. But I thought that this was pertinent information that you guys should be able to use. All right. And that's something that we got to keep in mind. You know what I mean? So, did I have, hold on, let me see something right quick. Okay. Yeah, let's take a look at this video right quick before we leave up out of here. I want to preface it by 1976 Copyright Act, Section 107, allowances made for fair use for the purposes of commentary, criticism, news reporting, scholarship. But overall here at the FOF Squad, waking your ass up. All right? Hold on one second. Got your ass. Bow, bitch.
Elephant in the room of Greenland, which towers like a behemoth at the top of the
map. Let's go over this right quick.
Greenland masquerades as...
Hold on, right quick. Let me prime this. Get right to the point where I want it. Just so that we can conceptualize this. Just show you how these brain fucks are very. Let's just start from here. Let's see where we go. Oh, hold up. That's not. Just took me off. All right.
Weeds with a population less than downtown Baltimore, this example will work perfectly because of the state's square shape. As we stack one unit of Wyoming on top of each other, we get more and more. Let's take India and move it over to see just how small it really is. The United Kingdom is actually smaller than quite a lot of places in the world that you might not expect. Places like Japan, the Philippines, Sumatra, Madagascar, and New Zealand. Next door to New Zealand is Australia, and the UK looks so small just off the east coast in comparison. And Australia, in fact, is much bigger than most people believe it to be. It can be placed to cover almost the entire continental US. Interestingly, the combination of the following countries will not cover that same area. Portugal, the Netherlands, Estonia, Albania, Hungary, Belgium, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Austria, Croatia, Latvia, the Czech Republic, Serbia, Switzerland, Slovakia, Lithuania, Denmark, Ireland, Greece, Bulgaria, Romania, the United Kingdom, Italy, Germany, France, Spain, and North.
Hold up, look at this Blanco. This Blanco running around like he coming from continents. Look at these small ass itty bitty motherfucking shits that he talking about got all this global conflict. He's inflating his ego. You see how he making himself important? Look at all these countries, Ukraine and all. Look at these motherfuckers. That's why I told you, man. You got what? Let's let this video finish.
Way. And that's not even factoring in big but not too big Alaska to the north. Between Alaska and the United States is Canada, which also seems huge up here. And while Canada is a very large country, it's actually roughly the same size as China. But still looks like a colossus when placed in Europe, where it stretches from east to west to Portugal to Iran and up north into the Barents Sea just above of Russia. Slightly off topic, Japan is another bigger place than most people believe it to be. If Japan were placed off the US East Coast, it would look like this in comparison. But much, much bigger than Japan, and also not often thought about, is Brazil, which is an absolutely massive country. It doesn't really look like it on our map, but when we move it to Australia, we can actually discover that Brazil is much bigger, which makes Brazil larger than one of the world's 7 continents. Brazil is also almost larger than the United States, spans almost all of Europe, but fits rather snugly into Africa. We are about to discover that Africa is a colossal continent that we don't often realize. It can almost fit the entire contiguous United States into just the Sahara Desert, and the continent can also squeeze in China, Western Europe, India, Argentina, Scandinavia, and the UK, and still have some room left over. Russia
and still have some room left over. So you see why, like I said before, how these Blancos, this little bitty, these Johnny come latelys had to come in and send out their agents to break this continent down. This is a vast land. You could fit all these motherfuckers in the crown jewel. Okay, but we know as these countries fit snugly into each other, we know that it was all one landmass. So to argue about where we from, this is our so-called planet. We got to understand that all these shifts and these breakapouts of this hypothesis or this theory, tectonic plate theory, how this magnetic or electromagnetic energy broke apart this land, is we can go off them debates for years, right? Because a lot of it's still theory. So those debates run on. But what we do know is that, with this lane mostly in the tropical region, a lot of the jewels and the crystals and stuff come out of these regions. All right. And this is one of the primary reasons as to why they had to take this continent over. And we're showing you how sophisticated the plan was. As you can see, that's what I wanted to kind of relay to you guys. Let me go back to this. So in closing, what we got to understand is that in order to accomplish this Herculean feat of changing ourselves, revitalizing ourselves, we understand that we have to know the truth. To understand the truth, to be thoroughly convinced that by the truth, is to understand the position of those who position themselves as your enemy, or at least the enemy of your experience, right? And Mother Nature herself, right? And so we know that, like we said, they're unapologetic in their stance. Look at all the way that they lie to you in every area of life activity. We take a look at the maps. You say, oh, well, that's not a problem. You take a look at science, medical apartheid. Oh, you say, oh, that's not the problem. You take a look at the food, genetically engineered. Oh, you say that's not the problem. You take a look at politics. Oh, you say that's not the problem. Look at every area. Then you would understand that we have a fucking problem. We should be in the space program. Houston, we have a fucking problem. And this is the point. This is what I'm trying to show you without a doubt. How many lies do you need to hear to know that you're in a war? And with that being said, who is God? God is the judge. And why is she the judge? Because she decides who wins and loses, not my opponent. Who is my opponent? He does not exist. And why doesn't he exist? Because he is merely a dissenting voice to the truth I speak. Christologians, speak the truth.
This boy got a hit. True love slips away, but I know that our love will survive. 'Cause I can't see falling stars in the sky no more. There might come a day when life and my true love slips away, but I know that our love will survive. 'Cause I can't see falling stars in the sky no more. Thinking what this life has to mean to you, and I like to say, why sleep? I was hoping when awake we'll make our dreams come true. Didn't hear me say, love can always count on me. Hey, 'cause I'm always where I'm supposed to be. And now I seen your life change, my life changed when I came and we came together for love. It seems that life's strange, 'cause light came when dark flames had came to come tear up our love. And I don't wanna play no games, no. Just a baby in the day you give me your last name. Oh, there might come a day when life of our true love slips away, but I know that our love will survive. 'Cause I can't see falling stars in the sky no more. There might come a day when life and our true love slips away, but I know that our love will survive. 'Cause I can't see falling stars in the sky no more.
She can't talk with no dry eyes. It's sunsets on that sky ride. Her hands up, no high five. I'm so high, I skydive. My life now feels screwed up. We don't move or we don't move up. I swear life is a ghost town, 'cause all we do is stay glued up. I can't lose you, I'll fight back. 'Cause who can give me these nights back? Just arches up in that nice back. She drunk in love with no nightcap. Just comfort me and my block scars. Won't take long to see rock hard. Just a wedding ring that's rock hard. And long nights when I'm rock hard.
There might come a day when life of our true love slips away, but I know that our love will survive. 'Cause I can't see falling stars in the sky no more. There might come a day when life and our true love slips away, but I know that our love will survive. 'Cause I can't see falling stars in the sky no more.